Good morning. I'm Matt Farris. I'm your guest speaker today, and this is Jill Overholt, our worship associate, and Jenna Jaffe is kindly filling in for us as our guest musician. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Asheville. Welcome to those here in this space and those joining us online. Whether this is your first time or you've been with us before, we're glad you're here. We want you to know that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter how you identify, no matter whom you love, you are truly welcomed in this place. As we begin this morning's worship, let us open our hearts to the spirit of love as we receive the gift of our opening music.
Good morning. I'm grateful to be here today and grateful to be of service. This is a song that I wrote and start our service. Many lead us, but do we still believe? The roads are the same, but can we even see what is truth? The wise one seeks the heart with tolerance. Silence does its part. The continuance of ignorance brings us all down. We must build a bridge of peace, a road to love. You say you listen, but do you really hear? You walk in faith, but believe solely in fear. Listen now, you can make a choice. Trust your heart. Come and lift your voice. Freedom rings when we all cut the chains. Justice sings when only truth does reign. The continuance of ignorance brings us all down. We must build a bridge of peace, a road to love. We must build a bridge of peace, a road to love.
Morning. Our chalice lighter this morning is Zaylee. Our reading is Summons by Aurora Levins Morales. Last night I dreamed 10,000 grandmothers from the 1,200 corners of the earth walked out into the gap, one breath deep, between the bullet and the flesh, between the bomb and the family. They told me we cannot wait for governments. There are no peacekeepers boarding planes. There are no leaders who dare to say every life is precious, so it will have to be us. They said we will cup our hands around each heart. We will sing the earth's song, the song of water, a song so beautiful that vengeance will turn to weeping. The mourners will embrace, and grief replace every impulse toward harm. 10,000 is not enough, they said. So we have sent this dream, like a flock of doves, into the sleep of the world. Wake up. Put on your shoes. You who are reading this, I am bringing bandages and a bag of scented guavas from my trees. I think I remember the tune. Meet me at the corner. Let's go. Now please rise and body your spirit to sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
And now let's sing our children and youth to our band book summer program. We want to invite any parents, especially if you're new or visiting and sending your kids to religious exploration classes today, to walk out with your children so you can meet the group's leaders and find out where to pick up your child after worship.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace, knowing love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace, know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Spirit of life and love, we have gathered here in search of answers to hard questions. We have come in search of understanding, in search of community. We have come in search of hope and healing. Let this be a place not only of searching, but of discovery. Let this be a place of learning, but of wisdom. Let this be a place not only of meeting, but of connection. And let this be a place where healing fosters giving and hope fosters service. This is our prayer, that we may create here a circle of love, ever expanding, ever growing, as we seek to know you, the source of our being. Amen, and blessed be. Let us share a moment of silence. Now is the time to acknowledge our joys or sorrows with a ritual of water and rocks. For all that grieves our hearts, we add salt to brine the water in this vessel, seeded from the water of our water communion. For all that brings our hearts joy or celebration, we scatter flower petals to symbolize our happiness or contentment. And so, as always, I welcome you to come forward in 2 lines and in a circular motion, return to your seats. If you have shared a joy, know we rejoice with you. If you have shared a sorrow, know you are held in love and care by this community. We add these last rocks for all the joys and sorrows of our community, carried by those who are not present with us today. Our community is one community, gathered or apart.
Our reflection today is a vision by Wendell Berry. If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then a long time after we are dead, the lives of our lives will prepare life there, their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich in the windows. The river will run clear, as we will never know it, and over it birdsong like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells in noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, an old forest will stand, its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten spring will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return, whatever the grief at party. Memory, native to this valley, will spread over it like a grove, and memory will grow into legend, legend into song, song into sacrament. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds, will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. This is no paradisal dream. Its hardship is its possibility.
Good morning, beloved community. I'm here today with a buoyant spirit, with gratitude for the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Asheville and the broader UU community. I'm excited to be a Unitarian Universalist in such an exciting, transformative era in the history of our religious movement. Last month at General Assembly, our annual conference of Unitarian Universalists, delegates voted to approve some vital changes to the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association, our central UU organization. This morning, I'd like to unpack and interpret the significance of the newly inaugurated Inspirations section. Now, I'm going to be referring to specific sections here. Don't head for the doors just yet. I promise it's going to be worth it. So we're specifically looking at section C-2.3. And in it, an invaluable dimension of our living tradition's distinctiveness is accentuated and advanced with this new Inspirations section. Here's what this section says in my own words and in a nutshell. Unitarian Universalism is a religious movement that treasures wisdom wherever it may be found. So we practice wisdom in myriad ways. This morning, I will also explain how the revisions of the UUA bylaws refocus on what's distinctive about the wisdom of a covenantal Unitarian Universalist way of life. As you may be aware, due to the delegate votes at General Assembly in June, the 6 sources have been replaced by the UUA in the UUA bylaws, along with our treasured 7 principles. For many of us, the 6 sources spell out Unitarian Universalism's affinity for a wide range of wisdom traditions, including the world's religions, humanism, science, and indigenous traditions, among others. Yes, the newly adopted language in the UUA bylaws has effectively removed the 6 sources from that particular official UU document. I assure you that the 6 sources have not, however, been eliminated from our living tradition. As with the 7 principles, and for that matter, the profound works of James Luther Adams, William Ellery Channing, Margaret Fuller, and Rebecca Ann Walker, the 6 sources now have pride of place as crucial sources of wisdom from which we may draw. I want to be crystal clear here. The very language that has replaced the 6 sources in the UUA bylaws, that very language encourages us to affirm the 7 principles and 6 sources as inspirational treasures. So let's check out the new inspiration section. Here's what it says, and I quote, "Direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. We draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live into our values. These sources ground us and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and joyous times. We respect the histories, contexts, and cultures in which these sources were created and are currently practiced. Grateful for the experiences that move us, aware of the religious ancestries we inherit, and enlivened by the diversity which enshrines our faith, we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom." End quote. Now, candidly, it's difficult for me to be objective about this new inspirations language. I love it. It affirms the broadest possible range of our human experience and equipment for truth-seeking, meaning-making, and describing the world. In other words, it affirms the broadest possible range of our human experience for pursuing and practicing wisdom, living well. It calls us all to be philosophers, lovers of wisdom, a la the ancient Greco-Roman schools of philosophy. Or, to give a nod to James Luther Adams, a renowned 20th century UU philosopher, famous for promoting, and I quote, "the priesthood and prophethood of all believers," the inspirations language calls us all, every last one of us, to be priests and prophets of wisdom. The inspirations declaration in the UUA bylaws affirms the vast diversity of ways of knowing. It testifies that truth and knowledge present themselves in various forms. Therefore, we Unitarian Universalists affirm various ways of apprehending, perceiving, or getting at that truth and knowledge. Sacred understandings that help us to make meaning and live into our values? Check. Secular understandings that help us to make meaning and live into our values? Check. Scientific understandings that help us to make meaning and live into our values? Check. This language reminds us that as UUs, we have a passion for wisdom, and we should celebrate that. So let's celebrate. I'll get us warmed up. Okay. How about this? Probably my favorite movie of all time is Dead Poets Society. How about a show of hands? Who's seen Dead Poets Society? All right, beloved community, you must see Dead Poets Society. I was in high school when the film came out, and Dead Poets Society greatly influenced the trajectory of my life, including my vocation my calling. In the movie, an extraordinary teacher, Mr. Keating, inspires his students to follow transcendentalist Henry David Thoreau's wisdom in Walden, to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. Mr. Keating also introduces his students to an honorary transcendentalist, good old Uncle Walt Whitman, inspirational poet par excellence, sublime YAWPer, and someone who really knows the spiritual value of celebration. Keating repeatedly refers to Whitman's lengthy, at times soaring poem, Song of Myself. In section 52, the narrator, myself, imagines becoming part of what I like to call the whole and the holy. Myself becomes like a spotted hawk, soaring in the sky, aligned with divine nature. Myself becomes a part of the mysteries, wild and untranslatable, a figure of wisdom itself. Feeling this alignment with sacred reality, myself yawps. Does what, you might ask? Well, our narrator yawps. A yawp is a loud, harsh cry, a squawk, or a foolish exclamation. Becoming like a hawk, myself becomes a sacred fool and lets out a barbaric yawp. Check it out. This is section 52. The spotted hawk swoops by and accuses me. He complains of my gab and loitering. I too am not a bit tamed. I too am untranslatable. I sound my barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world. The last scud of day holds back for me. It flings my likeness after the rest, and true as any on the shadowed wilds. It coaxes me to the vapor and the dusk. I depart as air. I shake my white locks at the runaway sun. I effuse my flesh in eddies and drift it in lacy jags. I bequeath myself to the dirt to grow from the grass I love. If you want me again, look for me under your boot soles. You will hardly know who I am or what I mean, but I shall be good health to you nevertheless, and filter and fiber your blood. Failing to fetch me at first, keep encouraged. Missing me one place, search another. I stop somewhere, waiting for you. This is how I feel about the new inspiration section. It inspires me. It prods me to be a sacred UU fool, to celebrate our beloved community. It says, sound your UU barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world. Wait, really? Well, okay, well then, all right, it must be done. Be broadly inspired by wisdom! Yeah. I want to do that again. All right, you want to do it with me? Please rise as you are willing and able, or in spirit, assume a yawping position, okay? That's right, whatever personally, spiritually works for you for a yawp. Now, folks at home, this means you too. A yawp can be done on your couch. A yawp can be done in pajamas. Our yawp goes like this. Be broadly inspired by wisdom. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Be broadly inspired by wisdom! That was very good. Very good. Let's do it one more time with verve, with pluck, so that it soars over this rooftop. 1, 2, 3. Be broadly inspired by wisdom! Thank you. Outstanding. I want to read the inspirations section again. This time, ask yourself, what part of this inspires me? What is wise about this inspirations declaration? Here it is. Direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. We draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live into our values. These sources ground us and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and joyous times. We respect the histories, contexts, and cultures in which these sources were created and are currently practiced. Grateful for the experiences that move us, aware of the religious ancestries we inherit, and enlivened by the diversity which enshrines our faith, we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom. What part of this statement inspires me? What is wise about this inspirations declaration? I would love for us all to have a congregation-wide discussion about these questions. Maybe sometime we can do that. For me, one of the things that's wise about this statement is that it doesn't limit the nature of transcending mystery. Our most gifted scientists, those among us who grasp preternaturally the way that things work, from the vast forces of the universe to the patterns of energy, the minute patterns of energy that function as the fabric of reality, and everything in between. Those among us who really, really get it, acknowledge that they really, really don't get it. The mysteries of reality transcend our knowledge, and yet we live in wonder with a drive to understand. Okay, this inspirations declaration affirms that. Quote, direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration, end quote. So true, right? What else? What else is wise about our inspirations language? Well, how about the fact that it doesn't privilege any particular religious tradition or wisdom community, sacred, secular, or otherwise? While I remain a huge fan of the six sources, they're rightly criticized for being unnecessarily limited, for naming privileged names. Special shout-outs go to Jewish and Christian teachings, humanist teachings, and spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions. But in the six sources language, even the privileged teachings are unnecessarily limited in what wisdom they may have for us. Quoting now from them, Jewish and Christian teachings which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. Humanist teachings which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against the idolatries of the mind and spirit. Spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature, end quote. Folks, it's not that the six sources language is wrong. The language is simply not inspired enough by the stunning diversity of wisdom available through those named and privileged traditions. The spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions that I have been blessed to experience teach wisdom far in excess of the celebration of the sacred circle of life or living in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Similarly, Jewish and Christian teachings offer so much more than calling us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. Our Unitarian and Universalist forebears celebrated so much more comprehensively the treasure of Jewish and Christian wisdom, different kinds of Jewish and Christian wisdom, than responding to God's love or loving our neighbors as ourselves. In fact, today, we affirm the value of these named and privileged traditions so much more broadly and inclusively than the 6 sources list suggests. Our New Inspirations language wisely professes that Unitarian Universalism is a religious movement that treasures wisdom wherever it may be found. So we practice wisdom in myriad ways. Indeed, we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom. Now, there's another dimension of our wisely evolving beloved community that I'd like to highlight. A distinct feature of our religious movement, of the history of Unitarian Universalism, is covenant. It is appropriate for us to affirm that, quote, love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values, end quote. That language comes directly from section C-2.2, Values and Covenant, from updated UUA bylaws. If love is the power that holds us together, then covenant is the agreement we make to align with that power. Covenant is the agreement we make to align with the 7 shared values. Covenant is the agreement we make to respond with devotion and commitment when we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom. The introduction of the new Values and Covenant section of the UUA bylaws promotes covenant as an indispensable element of our religious movement. It says, quote, as Unitarian Universalists, we covenant congregation to congregation and through our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love, end quote. Now, to be clear, our ministries refers to each and every one of us in the beloved community. We covenant, we make a pact, we contract with one another to support and assist one another in our ministries. The last line of the introduction could have been a whole lot better with the addition of 2 words that are implied, but should have been made explicit. My version would read, quote, through covenant, we are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love, end quote. We are accountable to one another because love is our most fundamental value. Yes, but it is through covenant that we keep saying yes to love, keep saying yes to one another. It's because we are in a covenantal relationship that we are accountable to one another. We are accountable to one another because we value interdependence. It's important for me to note here that each of the newly inaugurated 7 values has a covenant statement as part of its articulation. The assertion, the profession, the promise, we covenant to, is one of the 3 main parts of each of our shared values. We agree to gather together in interdependence, to live well. We will hold ourselves and one another accountable to walk the talk of Unitarian Universalism. Ours is not a creedal religion with creedal tests. It is a covenantal religion, and the new Article 2 language reinforces that fact over and over again. not creedal, covenantal. Because we are not creedal, but covenantal, Unitarian Universalism is a religious movement that treasures wisdom wherever it may be found, so we practice wisdom in myriad ways. Kindred spirits, we are indeed in a time of clarifying and celebrating the wisdom of Unitarian Universalism, called to be the best version of Unitarian Universalism for today. We are in a time of transformation. This is the T value of our 7 shared values. Quote, transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect, end quote. To conclude this meditation, the new UUA bylaws are catalysts for that transformation, as well as a blueprint for what kind of change calls us into renewed covenant with one another, into healthy relationships and wise ways of living, building on the foundation of love. Our collective purpose is clear. It says so right in the Values and Covenant section. Check it out. The Unitarian Universalist Association will actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love. And that is wisdom to live by. May it be so. Let's do some singing. Now please rise in body or in spirit to sing hymn number 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one as now we join in singing a hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew with that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service with love and justice, strive to make us free.
And now's the time for the work of the congregation. At this point, we would like visitors to stand and introduce themselves, should they choose. An usher will be around with a microphone. You can tell us your name and where you're coming from today.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Bigger, and I come from Woodfin today.
Good morning. My name is Brad Hill, and I'm a visitor from the Dorothea Dix Unitarian Universalist community in Bordentown, New Jersey.
Good morning. My name is Isaac Hanellis, and I'm friends with Brad, who is a member of the Dorothea Dix congregation of Hamilton, New Jersey.
Hi, my name is Nanette Bartels, and I'm a dear friend of Margaret's from UU Miami. I have since left UU Miami and returned to Connecticut, where I originally came from, and belong to the UU Fellowship of Stores, Connecticut.
Good morning. My name is Ann Jennings, and I live here in Asheville, and I'm just exploring the UU congregation.
Morning. My name is Jim Monker. This is my wife, Julie. We come from just south of Houston in a little town called Clear Lake Shores. We're visiting the Maggie Valley area just to get away from the heat and a hurricane. We're enjoying our time here. We're affiliated with the UU Church in just south of Houston called the Bay Area Universalist Church. And we enjoy being here and treasure being here. Thank you.
My name's Lisa Schwartz, and I'm just moved to Asheville, and so glad to find this community here.
Good morning. My name is David Strickler. That question about where I come from is a bit tricky. I'm a longtime member of the First Unitarian Church of Toledo, Ohio, and I'm moving in slow motion to Asheville.
Hello, I'm Maggie Scarborough, a member of the Community Church of Chapel Hill, UU. My husband and I are in the process of slowly moving this way towards Asheville.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Tim Reap. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I've moved up here at least for 4 months to escape the 100-degree heat, for one thing, and I love the mountains, and I was part of the Unitarian Church in Jacksonville when I was a teenager.
Hello, my name is Camelot Melissus. My mom is on the piano today. She's wonderful. Brought my son Oscar, who's almost 3 years old. Can you say hi?
Hi.
And this is my dad.
Yeah, I'm Carl Melissus. I've lived here for 22 years, and I used to go to UU Church with her back in Georgia. If he drinks beer, you know he'll
Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for introducing yourselves. Take a minute and wave at Trevor, our connections coordinator, who would love to meet you after the service, especially if you have any questions. Our announcements run as slides at the beginning of the service. If you missed them, you can refer to Thursday's weekly e-news, as everything is described there. If you don't receive the e-news, email us at information@uuasheville.org. Our community plate recipient this month is the Minister's Discretionary Fund. You can donate by check, but be sure to write community plate in the memo line. All cash donations will be split with our community plate partner. You can also donate online. The work and ministries of this congregation are entirely supported by the generosity of our members and friends. We celebrate your generosity each Sunday with music and thanks. You make us possible, and we give thanks for you. The offering will now be gratefully collected. for the gifts of your presence, time, wisdom, and resources. We are grateful.
This is a new song that I just wrote. I was actually inspired to write this song after Matt and I were working on the service. If you like any of the music that you've heard me play today, I'll be doing a concert with another singer-songwriter next Friday at the Center for Spiritual Living with Amy Steinberg, and we'd love to have you there. There is a flyer in the Sandberg Hall, and I'd love to talk to you more about it. This song is called Make a Change. It is time to make a change. We've got to stand up and help each other. It is time to make a change. We've got to stand up, love one another. Look and see what's in common, not the problem. Find the thread that connects us. Reach for the love in your heart, it's a start. Find a link, pull us together, not apart. It is time to make a change. We've got to lead with compassion and love. The time is now to make a change. Be the example, rise above. It is time to make a change. We've got to stand up and help each other. It is time to make a change. We've got to stand up, love one another. Be the example and rise above and make the change. We've got to be the change. We've got to do the change. Yes, we do. We've got to be the change. Thank you.
May the benefit of this act and all acts be dedicated unto the complete liberation and the supreme enlightenment of all beings everywhere, pervading space and time. So mote it be. May the benefits of practice, ours and others, come to fruition, ultimately and immediately, and we remain in the state of presence. Please rise now in body or spirit as we share our special UU Asheville closing song, after which you're invited to join us in Sandberg Hall for social time. Thank you.
May the